Right. Welcome, David Rose. Good to have you here with us again.
Hi, David. You're
You're muted.
muted.
Good night, guys. Glad to be here.
Yes, how are you?
I'm alright, alright. Just busy day as usual.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me catch you up. So Audley has taken the JC route in his first two picks. One on one and one great studio. I did my first, which was Tropical Battery, and I was about to do my second, but I figure we'll get you in the loop now as well. So floor is yours for your first stock to watch.
Well, one stock definitely to watch, which is going to take some time, is the Sagicor Select funds. Why do I say that? So, just for those who haven't been aware as to what has been happening in recent times, so Sagicor Investments, as per manager, along with the board, has proposed to change Sagicor Select funds from a listed company or listed fund in a sense to a unit trust. What does know what a unit trust is? Think of everybody putting their money together, and you have a manager that ensures that the money is invested and grows to benefit everybody. So currently, we're seeing whereby Sagicor's Select MD is trading at like $1.08, respect to its NAV, vis-a-vis the trading price around 70 cents, which is about close to 50% unrealized gain between the current stock price vis-a-vis the NAV. And realistically speaking, even with all of the relatively depressed prices, the largest components in Select MD, which would be, your Cinco, your Carib Cement, your Last M, Grace Kennedy, those companies are definitely, expanding. They're not sitting idly by. So once their growth continues to get into second gear, that's going to likely translate to higher stock prices as well, because we're seeing is just completing the tail end of their multi-billion dollar expansion, multi-billion dollar expansion for Jamaican dollar terms. Lasco manufacturing is looking more towards the export market. Carib Smith is almost complete with their expansion as well, and the Jamaican economy is growing, and it companies are also looking to take some of their excess capacity to other markets, in this case to the overseas markets. So in essence, it's a relatively decent play depending on your time horizon and your ability to wait. Because the thing about a unit trust most people appreciate is that a unit trust, you're usually able to actually exit the unit trust at the NAV, vis-a-vis the listed fund right now where you have to actually exit at the best bid price. So pretty decent, discount at the moment, and it's going to take some time. And let me give you context to why it's going to take time for persons who are not aware. So they have to go to the Supreme Court, make an application to do this scheme. Supreme Court's term just ended today. They're going on recess, and after recess, they'll come back around September, right? When they come back around September, we're going to probably find out if they get a court date within that September period. After they get a court date and the court says, hey, you have to go through this process and everything, it takes at least 21 days, which is 3 weeks, for the actual special shareholder meeting to actually be kept based on, the Established Companies Act and regulations of the JSE. So anyway, take you probably can probably November, October, November, in good scenarios, to have that special shareholder meeting. After that shareholder meeting, they'll have to go back to the court, say court to get shareholder approval. After the shareholder approval and the court approves, go to FSC. After FSC, have to go through the process of converting and ensuring that all the shareholders are able to actually have unit trust accounts. And then, after that entire process, it can then allow for, persons to potentially, in this case, redeem at NAV. But the entire process is going to take some time just because court term just ended, and not until September, early September, and it is gonna have some time that is gonna have to occur before the process actually takes place. But still, this is an opportunity for some persons who will look at that discount opportunity.
Yeah, that does sound like quite a bit of time. I think your timeline is very optimistic.
No, no, I said, Jeremy, it's an optimistic timeline, but at the same time, as I said, it's something that you do have to necessarily sit down and wait on. Once one part of the process has started, so if for me, I check the Supreme Court's commercial court list every week to know what's happening in this country in terms of commercial law developments, and I also read some of the judgments as well to know what's going on. So once I see the court date occur, I can then gauge to myself when my opportunity to actually enter a small position.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's just timing in this instance.
yeah. So I'm weighing this very same thing right now where I'm seeing a lot of great opportunities. My capital has shrunk in this season because I'm not exiting certain stocks that I have. I'm up on just a handful, right? Stocks like Dolphin Cove, Trans Jamaica, I'm up on. There are some other stocks I'm down maybe 10, 20, 30%, and I'm just waiting. I could, so no, if something is extremely attractive, I may just take that 20, 30% loss if I think that I can get 50 to 100%. But I mean, I liked the Sagicor Select Fund play, but it looks like, at least to me, when I first saw it and we spoke about stock market money, I was guessing 12 to 18 months. And I was like 3 months ago, right? So it sounds like my timeline that you're saying could be, I mean, best case 6 months, worst case it could very well be more than that. So it just didn't seem attractive enough to me to want to hold a position when I'm not gonna see anything within. I mean, I'm sure that's a dividend coming from Trans Jamaica in October, November. I'm sure that a Dolphin Cove dividend is coming and some other things that I'm looking at. So I'm sure that Tropical is gonna do their thing this year. So I'm just, oddly, I don't know if you have any thoughts on Sagicor Select. I don't know if you heard that story, by the way.
No, I've been hearing the story, but to be honest, especially when David started to talk, him lose me because me not understand half of them something there. I just know the very, very basic things, but when him start talk about, I don't even know what him say.
So,
Him,
so are you familiar with the Sagicor Select
you know,
funds?
I'm familiar with the Sagicor Select funds. I believe it's part of my portfolio. I'm not sure. I'd have to check.
So what
So
they're doing is converting those shares to a unit trust. Well, they're seeking to get approval to do that.
To do
So
that.
a
Right.
big issue for them so far is that pretty much from IPO, the stock has not been trading at what's considered the fair value, which is the net asset value. So by them converting it to a unit trust, persons will have the opportunity to do a few things. One, they'll be able to always sell at the fair value, which would be the NAV. And two, it would create more liquidity for them in that they don't have to wait for the market to buy and sell. Because if I wanted to buy select funds now, I have to go and buy from the ask side, right? So I mean, David was just explaining the process that may take anywhere from 4 to 6 months best case to maybe upwards of a year. And so I was just saying that didn't seem attractive enough to me to want to do something with the many opportunities I see for my cash right now. So that's all. David, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to that.
no, so that's really what it is, Ali. Like, it's just in this case them trying to create a better opportunity for shareholders because let's put it in perspective, right? The NAV is assets minus liabilities, which is shareholder equity divided by the number of shares. As it currently stands, shareholders are not able to close that effective gap between the NAV and the market price. So, for context, what I was pointing out was that depending on when certain things occur, in that whole legal process, regulatory process, there's a potential opportunity for somebody to actually take advantage of the situation. Because what happens, almost we seem to understand with a unit trust, is that when unit trust has redemptions, either two things happen. Either the fund manager looks at the interest cash reserves and takes some of that cash to pay out the redemption, or they will go and sell some of the assets on the market to actually fulfill that redemption. Now, you might make it sell it in the market directly, and make it find another buyer, but that's what happens. So what I'm pointing out is that effectively you have two parts of the equation. If you can time it appropriately and you have the stomach and wherewithal to wait, you can potentially get a 50% gain between when you purchase it and when you're actually able to realize that redemption at NAV when it's fully converted. And then there's other parts of the equation, which is when they do have to be selling some of these shares to the market to meet these redemptions, then some stocks might get cheaper, but the better for some of us. So it's a dual-sided equation, basically.
Understood. It's much clear. I'm really happy we had this discussion because you cleared up a lot of things for me, you know.
It's not an easy thing to understand. It's new to our market, but it's a very relatively involved process. It's not something that you can just explain in one go off the bat. So when I explained it earlier, I was explaining for persons who were relatively aware and what a unit trust was. So I don't mind breaking it further for you to understand as well.
What it says to me as a person new in the investment space is how Sagicor is responding to the needs of its investors. Because if you're saying to me that the stock is not trading at the fair value, and this is one of the smart ways that I think they can manipulate
Not manipulate, but
but this is one of the strategic moves that they can make to ensure that investors are getting the return on their investment, fair return. Then it is certainly a move that I agree with them taking, you know. So, and that's the reason why I really like them as a partner, because we do a lot of different works with them. They've really been very smart, so I like working with them.
so trust me, it this whole stock thing. There are a lot of little nuances, but there are opportunities for you to make money once you understand the nuances. It's sometimes rough to the ordinary person, but money is to be made by knowledge, not by just gambling alone. That's a better way to express it.